name is John Zakalek, and I've been tied to the Brazil mission here at our parish for many years now. And I'd like to just share a few things that are really important to me about the mission. And I have Kathy with me, and we're just going to just have some dialogue around what the mission has meant to us over the years and the things we've accomplished and why it's such a great part of our lives and has been for many years. Kathy, I think back to how this all started back in 2001. Father Tim approached me after Mass one day and asked if I'd be interested in starting a sister parish down in Brazil, South America. And he knew we had a connection there with Sister Rose Martin. Sister Rose, is, as you know well, I consider her our ambassador of love, joy, and getting things done, right? She's been with us since the beginning. And so since we had that connection, we went down and we started our mission in a small town called Imbau, Brazil, with our sister parish, which is named Sao Jose, and in English that's St. Joseph's. And I really just think back to those many things that we've accomplished and what we've done, and I think what a blessing it's been to us and our families and all those that have traveled. I mean, I think what our whole goal and our mission is, as you know, is to just foster love internationally with a parish down there and to build that relationship. And we've been doing that for quite a while. We have been involved in so many activities over the years. Our typical mission trip has always been to go down and just be there, be present with the people. Yeah. A lot of times you think about, well, what are you going to build when we go down there? And we talk to potential travelers and we say, let's just enjoy the moment. I think they feel so much love and gratitude for us coming down to spend time with them and just being a part of their lives and praying with them and going to Mass with them and helping them in any way we can. I think that's just been one of those special parts of our experience which sometimes is difficult for people to understand when they don't know what a mission trip is all about, right? What I love about our mission too is that we're able to do things in a group. And as you go down with people, sometimes you know them very well, other times you don't know them at all. And you form this connection and a bond, and that bond carries forward with the people you meet in Brazil. And since we have such a long-term relationship with them over the years, it seems like it's family. And we go down there and it's a celebration of our faith, our friendship, and our love for Jesus and Mary. And when we think about that, I look at the number of trips we've taken over the years, 30 trips over the years. 111 parishioners have traveled down there, and 20 or more of those have gone down multiple times. So it's kind of contagious when you get down there, and I know it's something that you have to experience to truly appreciate, but I know by the smile on your face, having traveled several times, you can appreciate how what that means to the normal person who would not have experienced that otherwise. I think the other important part of our mission is that we were able to support them very well financially. Over the years, through our tithe collection, we've been able to contribute to our sister parish and the outlying communities over $290,000, which has been put to use in so many great ways. What you have there is this main parish of St. Joseph's, and then you have in this town of Imbau these outlying communities where other groups have formed and settled in different locations, probably within 30 minutes of the main town. And there's up to 17 communities, and we've helped with chapels and we've done other things. And I know recently we just traveled together, which was a great joy. And I thought maybe you'd tell a little bit about what that trip was for you and where you saw money put to good use and other things that you would say about our last trip.
Well, the amazing thing about being involved in the ministry for so many years goes all the way back to that first experience in 2002. And I never anticipated or saw myself as a missionary traveler,
Right.
but just came on board to see what this mission was all about. And I remember our first meeting at over there in the ministry center, and one of the first things you said was, we're going to take a mission trip. We want to get down there and meet the people. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Right.
And I remember going home and talking to Mike about that, and he was so supportive. I said, I really think I'd like to do that. But going on that very first trip and meeting some of the people and that first experience with that group of travelers was just a life-changing experience.
Sure.
And we met a young man down there that first trip. He was 8 years old at the time,
Right.
the son of a family that was very involved in the church, and the Sister Parish Church was a new parish of its own at that time. And this young man, Sergio, was the first altar server in the parish.
Yeah.
And we have pictures of him from that trip, and got to know his family well of that trip, and on subsequent trips. We have continued to watch him grow, and from that very first trip he knew and told us that he wanted to become a priest.
He had that calling
He
at
did.
that young age.
Yeah.
It was so amazing.
And so to be able to go in August to celebrate his ordination as a priest was just more than I could have ever
Never
dreamed.
dreamed,
It was such an amazing experience to be able to share that with you and Rosie. You know, you guys are the founders, what I would say, the founders of our sister parish, you know, relationship from the work that you guys did many years before our parish even established, you know. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how God just brought it all together.
God brought it together, absolutely right.
So the money that we took down this year then became, you know, not an expectation in any way from the parish, but just such a blessing that we were able to take money from our parish to support these communities. And for each one of the small communities that gave this year, because of Pope Francis's call to reach out and spread out, that we decided with Sister Rosa's input to give monies particularly to each and every
Right,
chapel.
right.
And Sister Rose, she said when she went out and started giving this money then to these chapels, she said, see, you gave from your heart not expecting anything, and you got back double
Yeah.
what you gave.
Right.
You know, and
The
so that
timing
was just
perfect.
beautiful.
Yeah, the timing was just beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as I reflect back on all the trips we've taken and those that I've been a part of, I think what sticks out in my mind the most is when I watched first-time travelers see firsthand the faith that just eludes from their whole existence simply by the fact that you look at them and you say, they have nothing, and yet they're so happy. What is going on? And I think that makes all of us, and we try to live that every day, but it makes us reflect upon what's really important in life, you know, and how do we live our lives, because to see such joy in the midst of such poverty, but we know the joy comes from the Spirit, and we realize that's all God's asking us to do. So it's such a great example to be able to share with parishioners that travel on our mission trips with us. And I think the other piece that really rings loud to me is the energy of our youth in our parish. We've had a minimum of 20 teenagers travel with us over the years, and you've been a part of those trips as well. Mm-hmm. And the energy that this forms when you get young adults and from our parish and culture with theirs, we just sit back and laugh and have that, you know, the realities of seeing the true church at its best, when you see barriers broken down and people are having fun and celebrating sacraments and just having a good time together. To me, that is what has spurred so much, you know, growth in our ministry over the years. Mm-hmm. So I would, you know, I always like to encourage the young. You've gone with your family, I've gone with my family. I think that is an important part of what this ministry has to offer for parishioners as well. Mm-hmm. So I think about that, and then I look back and I think just what an opportunity we have in our parish today, that we had priests all these years ago who were willing to brainstorm this idea of a sister parish, and how we just said yes to the call, and over the years watched it grow. And I think that's the piece of service that is most important. And when you can do that in conjunction with a mission trip and with other people, some you know, as I said, some you don't, and come back, you're a changed person. You're changed for all the right reasons, mm-hmm. and you have these friendships across the country, or across the world, mm-hmm. that have never passed, and they just keep growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I'd really like to let everybody know about is that this building, that community building, that's mm-hmm. part of our sister parish,
right.
So much of the funds in the early years were put toward the use of building this community mm-hmm. building so that they can have a place for catechesis, a place for the parish office, a place for festivals and large group meetings and things like that. And that this community building is really, it's so well utilized. Otherwise, you know, in the first trip that we went down, they were having catechesis out in the grass
Yeah.
in the back.
Remember it well.
And so, inclement weather and everything, I mean, it just provides such a great space. And they call it the St. Louis de Montfort
Yeah.
Community Building. And they so appreciate and remember the gift, the great gift that God has given them
Right.
through our donations.
Right.
And one, probably the best use of that building so far has been for the festa the day after the ordination.
Absolutely.
And the whole community came together. They did all the food. They had a big barbecue. They brought food.
Oh.
It was like a wedding reception, really. I mean,
That's a great
it was
call.
all for this one young man, but the whole community just pulled together and they were able to use that space to really create a special venue for everybody to come
Mhm.
together and celebrate.
Yeah, and the priest, the pastor there now, Father Mansueto, he was so joyed by us being there to celebrate with him and
Uh-huh.
the community. I think that was an added bonus to our trip, was not only to be such a part of the ordination, but all the way through to the end and the grand celebration we were able to be a part of with Sergio and his family.
Yeah. Well, it'll be neat to see what God has in mind in the future.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, we
absolutely.
could have never anticipated everything that's happened
Yeah.
up to this point, and just looking forward, what would you want to say to people that might be thinking about traveling, or where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think sometimes when people are thinking about, am I a missionary? Could I be a missionary? What would that be like? I think the best thing I could tell them would be, number one, our commitment time is about a 10-day trip, 8 to 10 days in our travels, and the cost is probably in the range of $2,000 to $2,500. We have a little Brazil travel fund that can help out it to those that might not be able to afford that, but I think that shouldn't be a deterrent for someone who feels a calling to go. I think if there's that calling, we'll make it work, as we say, right?
Yeah.
And then when we go down there, we spend so much time just being with them, spending time with their families, visiting the sick, with the children in the schools, and with the children's programs that we can participate in. They have mothers clubs, and we go out to the outlying areas and participate in those events. I think those are just our way of being, again, present and involved in their lives.
Mhm.
And that's all they ask for, and I think that's what makes me look back on our trips and our experiences. Where, as I said, some people want to build a house or build a church, and sometimes we do the little bits and pieces of that, but for the most part, we spend time with them. And they love that, and we love that. And you don't always think about that when you consider yourself as a missionary. What's my role? I got to do something. And we like to think it's really, we're doing it just by being there.
Well, that's what Sister Rose has always said,
Yeah.
that our presence means more to them than anything.
Yeah.
And you can tell, because when you enter into people's homes, there
Oh,
are
man.
framed pictures from mission trips and groups that came 15
Yeah.
years ago, and it just blows you away when you see how much
Yeah.
our presence means to them.
They look at us as saying, if you have in the United States everything we dream for, and yet you will come to spend time with us and celebrate in masses with us and be partners in faith with us, that humbles us
Mhm.
to the point of we see them for who
Very
they are,
humbling, yeah.
and then we come back and say, I want to live that in our lives. We've had parishioners come back, and one gentleman came back and said, you know what, I want to be part of youth ministry. I know it affected my life in youth ministry. I served in confirmation for many years as a result of being so touched by wanting to help and give back. We had others who just wanted to get rid of some of their excess materiality, and they had garage sales, and they said, let's get rid of some of our stuff because we don't need all that. Those are the kind of lessons that we bring back from our trips that I would encourage travelers that are contemplating a mission trip to just give some true thought to. And most of all, I just encourage anyone who has an interest in serving around a different environment, a different ministry, come out and learn more about what we have to offer, and consider to just giving discernment to what God may be calling you to do.